Hi there, my name is Ben. So I've put together this training for electrical contractors just to understand web design and kind of how it helps the general conversion rate and several digital marketing strategies. So digital marketing does begin with a well-optimized website. If you're trying to draw people to your website needs to convert that traffic. Otherwise, typically your digital marketing strategy won't be as powerful as it could be. So we're going to look at 5 things. We're going to look at why design is the foundation for digital marketing, call to actions, tracking conversion, why that's important, local and organic SEO signals, kind of where to add them, the difference, that kind of stuff, and understand how your users are actually interacting with your website so you can kind of analyze that and make some changes as you go. So why web design is the foundation of an electrical contracting website. Design helps guide and educate users through the user journey. The way a site's designed helps or hinders the ability of a user to explore the site and take the next step. For electricians, this is typically getting in touch with you via contact form or a mobile. If your site is hard to navigate or contact you, they will likely go back to search results, choose a competitor, and this is typically called a bounce, and typically leads to the competition getting the lead, and it also kind of signals to Google that the competitor is providing a better user experience. The design of your website kind of displays important information about your services. It needs to be easy to read and easy to navigate. So a few common mistakes here. Trying to do too much, trying to make their website a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. A lot of contractors will make things a little bit fancier than they need to be rather than just keeping it simple. Try not to clutter the page. So making it difficult for a lead to get in touch. Call to actions need to be easy to spot and click on and just be direct. So you want your phone number in the top right hand corner, typically contact form, and just make it easy, make the contrast, make it stand out, and you will see a significantly improved conversion rate. Another mistake I see is contractors trying to fit all their services onto one landing page, thinking it's going to rank well. You typically want to kind of create a network of page content. So if you offer residential, commercial, industrial, and solar, you want 4 different pages explaining those services in detail. Another issue I see is having a slow site. For every second, typically above 3 seconds, every second past that, 4.4% on average, that conversion rate drops for each second. So if it's 10 seconds, every second it's about 4.5% lower and lower and lower. The conversion rate just keeps dropping. So having a fast site obviously helps. So call to actions. What are they? Why are they essential? Call to actions for electricians help a user get in touch with you for electrical services. This is kind of what it's about for electricians. If your website brings in 1,000 people but only one person contacts you, it's not that great. You need to improve that conversion rate, not necessarily dominate SEO. You've already got traffic. You need to improve that conversion rate. This will obviously make most digital marketing strategies suffer, not just SEO. And yeah, your phone number should be clickable for mobile, direct a user to the dialing screen, and a contact button should lead to a form, preferably on site, to send an email to you. Through the landing page, you can also include other call to actions. So like a sidebar is a really great place to have a sticky contact form at the bottom of each landing page, and just like what kind of makes sense for you. I would definitely advise having CTAs visible on every page of your website. Once again, sidebar at the end of the post, header, footer can work, but mostly the other 3 are going to work best for electricians. So common mistakes: not enough CTAs on the website, or they're not making it really visible for people to get in touch. And they're not testing different elements to improve what works best. You want to kind of always be testing things, like maybe we put the button a different color so it stands out more, or maybe we put a contact form above the fold for the first screen that kind of appears for a user to make it really, really obvious what the user should do next and how to get in touch. So a couple of website examples here. We can kind of see the left example doesn't really have specific pages. It just says specializing in home renovations and all that kind of stuff. I checked their site out. It does have services, but they're not really well structured. You do want to have those residential, commercial, those really core service offerings, and really dive into them. Provide the best value pages as you can. As you can kind of see up the top right hand corner, the phone numbers are there, but they do stand out a little bit, but they kind of get lost in the menu. They don't really jump out at you. So that would be a negative call to action in my experience for electricians. And for the right example, you can see that the number is visible on the right, but it's not clickable. I wasn't actually able to go on mobile and click that number and get automatically teleported to basically get in touch. You can also see that a slow website. I was on this page for about 5 to 6 seconds and the main image didn't show up. So that's a negative user experience because it's just a giant piece of real estate that's not working to convert a user. You need to make sure your website's fast. So here's a couple of better call to actions. I like the green for the top version just because it stands out a little bit more. It's got contact. You don't have to have contact, your business name in the top right hand corner. It can just be a mobile number. But the second example, there's nothing else on the page. It could look a little bit better, don't get me wrong, but it's just easy to kind of know how to get in touch with them. There's obviously no phone number in the top right hand corner, so these pages could be doing a little bit better, but they do have their own strengths. So conversions, what are they? Why are they important? Why track conversions to begin with? It's easy to talk about call to actions and like having mobile numbers present on every page. It should help the conversion rate, but how do you know for sure? You're not going to know unless you're tracking conversions. And this is where conversion tracking is crucial. It's important to have the data to see what pages of the website convert and what pages don't. If you're not tracking this and you're not sure, you can't really tell what's working, what's not, right? You need to implement Google Analytics tracking and goal tracking specifically to measure a lead value, how much a lead is worth, times by the average close rate. So typically this is going to be the average lead, and it's easy to kind of like demonstrate a monetary value for SEO. Whereas while tracking conversions, it's not really web design, but it is important to kind of understand what parts of your website are, converting better. If you've ever done SEO with an agency before and they've kind of sent you pages like ranking tracking, like, oh, hey, we're ranking number 1 for all these keywords, and you're getting 10 times the amount of traffic month to month. That's great, but what's the revenue? What's the ROI? And a lot of agencies don't report on this, and this is the number one thing. By implementing this, you can actually see that, hey, SEO has grown my electrical contracting business by 60% in the last 2-3 months. So that is the kind of tracking you need, and you only get that once you set up goal tracking with Google Analytics. So common mistakes: not tracking conversions at all, or only getting a small percentage of that data. You really want to see the full picture to make informed decisions, and kind of assuming your agency has this set in a meaningful way. Don't get me wrong, rankings and traffic are important, but you really want to be focused on conversions and revenue, because that's what's going to grow your business in the end, right? So local SEO and organic SEO signals, where to add them. So design kind of does play into this a little bit. Design helps guide and educate users, right? So web design is kind of a crucial part of SEO. It's not SEO, but it does play into it a little bit because it's all part of the user experience. We want to provide the best user experience. If a website doesn't take a user to the next step by contacting you, or provides a poor experience, a slow website doesn't provide the information that a user is looking for, Google will pick up on these signals and rank your competitors above you in search results. It's kind of that simple, right? So make sure the content on the page is easy to read, understand, and basically it just provides the most value possible to a user. FAQs typically work really well, dedicated service landing pages and specific service area locations that your business serves as well. For local SEO, strategy is a little bit different. We want to add NAP information, so business name, address, and phone number to the footer, and kind of like everywhere your business is mentioned online, you want to have this identical NAP information, so Google isn't getting mixed signals. Having this information in the footer is definitely a local SEO kind of industry standard, but anytime your electrical contracting business has a Facebook page, has local directory links, this needs to be identical. You don't want to start sending Google mixed signals. So common mistakes here: not creating a service and localized content pages that is designed well to convert a reader to a paying customer. Not having local SEO signals on the website. NAP signals are important to have, especially in the footer, and not answering the common questions a lead has when they get to a site. What's their next questions they're going to have? So a couple of website examples here that aren't doing too well when it comes to NAP and local SEO signals. This is the example of a footer. It does well with social proof. It shows kind of like the accreditations that the contractor does have, but it's lacking name, address, phone number details, and it's kind of likely hurting SEO, local SEO a little bit. You do want to kind of have them present. So finally, we're going to look at understanding how a user interacts with a website. This is going to be a little bit more advanced. It is going to require a little bit code implementation, not actual coding. It's just going to be a copy and paste of a code, but it's going to provide some really valuable information. So the goal of the website for electricians is to be some form of contact from your leads, right? Whether that's a phone call, email, quote, or estimate for a job. Your site should ensure it does it as easy as possible. Once a user is ready to contact you, it's as easy as possible. One way you can kind of identify how users explore your site is through what's called a heat map. So you install a small snippet of JavaScript through a tool like Hotjar. I'll show you some examples in a moment here. Hotjar will record user interactions during their time on your site, and basically it'll follow the user's screen, the user's mouse pointer around their website, see what they try and click on, and that kind of stuff. You can kind of watch these recordings and just see what kind of breaks down. Where's the friction of your site? Why do people leave? Are they trying to click a word that looks like a link, but it's not a link, and they get frustrated and they leave? It's little things like that that can help over time by like slowly fixing these little issues. Obviously, we're going to talk about some common mistakes: not having call to actions, easy to click on. I've definitely seen this for electrical contractors. People will try and click on the number and it doesn't actually load anything, so it's just a broken link. It's useless and it just frustrates users, so they leave and they go to a competitor, right, which we don't want. Not using data to make decisions with web design and website in general. You really want to understand how your users are interacting with a site. Don't just guess. You want to have that data to back it up. Designing a website that looks good rather than a positive user experience. The goal is to convert, and a positive user experience will do that typically than a flashy website. So let's have a look at some Hotjar examples. This is just examples. This is obviously not a site, but you can kind of see the left example. It is going to follow the mouse pointer around, see where they kind of like they typically hang out, where they click, all that kind of stuff. And then the right example shows you a bit of a heat map of where people click most and click least. If, for example, this 734 clicks, you would be able to infer that that is the most valuable element on that page. And then you could kind of make decisions about that. Do we make that bigger? Do we make that standalone? That kind of stuff. So you really want to understand what a user's doing on your website before you go and make changes. You could make the wrong change, and yeah, once again, you want to just understand how a user's interacting with your site. So here we can kind of see very similar things. It's just a little different ways of kind of presenting the same data. How far a user scrolls down your page. They measure different metrics, but it's just kind of important that heat maps come in a variety of forms, and it's kind of like what you're trying to solve for the best one to use. So that's the end of the training. I hope kind of like got the point across that good design does matter. You do want to create your digital marketing strategy and have a really good, solid website that converts those leads into paying clients. So if you're interested in exploring how SEO can grow your electrical contracting business, I am offering free consultations and audits for electrical contractors right now. You can book your time slot through the Calendly link in the YouTube description right below, or you can just reach out to me directly with any questions that you might have about SEO or this training in general. So yeah, I thank you for sticking around to the end. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and have a great day.